This is a 23 horsepower Husqvarna mower. I believe it has a 48-inch cut. Yeah, look at the numbers. 23 horsepower, 48, 23, 48 would be 23 horse, 48-inch cut. It has an intake, I guess an industrial engine on it. This used to be my mower, and when I bought a new mower, I gave it to my son, and time has not been kind. There's oil all underneath it. I don't know what's going on here. That's missing. There's no air filter in it. All the wing nuts for the air filter housing are gone. But I can't really blame him. He doesn't have a building. It sits outside. So, you know, what do you do? Weather and time and temperature are hard on it. But I'm going to try to figure out what's wrong with it. I put the battery for about 3 days. It was completely flat. That's a brand new battery. 423. And it's flat, so I put it on charge. He's had to put a starter and a starter relay or starter solenoid on it. So I'm thinking that something might be backwards here about giving it a parasitic draw. We'll do a test on that. First thing I want to do is get all the filth off of it. I took the deck off and fixed these up. One of these was completely sheared, and I had to grind it with a die grinder. All the blades look like this. They've had it. I happen to have some hanging on the wall that went to this, so I went ahead and put them on there, made sure they fit, and the spindles were good. And this is just dirt. That's dirt, not grass. So he's been, I guess he's been plowing with it rather than mowing. But I'm gonna get this thing outside, give it a wash, try to get it cleaned up, and we'll come back and see what we got to work with. Zip 505 degreaser. That ain't working. Works pretty good. So here it is back in the shop, mostly cleaned up. I got a lot of the gunk and oil off of it. The hood looks a lot nicer without all that mildew. It is sun faded, but it'll be just fine. It's drip drying right now, and got the deck all cleaned off. I'm probably gonna spray the bottom of the deck with some type of preservative, some protect it. We've got some crap in there. I can't think of the name of it. Fluid film, not a sponsor, but I love that stuff, but I can't ever think of the name of it. It's kind of similar to the same stuff that GM puts on the bottom. I think it's some type of wax, lanolin wax. I think it's very similar to what GM uses underneath their cars. They don't use any type of undercoating or anything like that. They just spray that on there and hope it'll last 6 months. But this is the 23 horse intake. Looks like the lid had fallen off and got down around the exhaust. These wing nuts are all gone. I put these on here. These little 7/16 bolts. Or quarter 20s, whatever you want to call them. If I can get loose. Looks like the screen's completely gone. I think Matt's had this top off several times, and in the process it's got broken. But that's all wet, but I did put it down in there to keep the water out. Look at all the filth. Thing's not had a filter for a while. But main reason I want to get this engine clean, I want to get these valve covers off and set the timing on it. Matt said it's cranking really hard to start. He thought it was a starter. He thought it was a starter relay. I'm not sure if they were issue or not. Also, the battery keeps running down on him, so it's possible that this starter relay has some type of parasitic draw. But I've had this battery on nuclear. I put some of my wrenches up on the walls where I could find them. I realized after I put this stuff up, I have no metric wrenches. I've never needed them. I've always worked on old junk. And starting in the 80s, GM kind of started mixing it up. They had some standard. And even the equipment that I work on has got a lot of standard fittings on it. But I do have some ratchet wrenches that are metric and a few little hand wrenches, but I have very few sockets. I didn't realize that I just didn't use metric tools that much, but now I need them all the time. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. It is 13.29, and I've had it off the charger for a couple of hours, so it is holding. Like I said, it's January, February, March, April. It was just bought in April. I had to count months already. See that? Figure that out. When I'm using one of these old, real old, this belonged to my dad years ago. It was just a straight, I guess, an analog style charger. There's nothing digital in it, so it'll charge until it runs out of juice or blows up. But you can't charge these. Of course, you can't charge these Optimas or any of them glass mat batteries with a standard charger. It just won't take a charge. You have to use the Optima's proprietary trickle charger. At least that's what they say. I think it's ridiculous. But I did get us a little kit. This is from, who is it from? HIPAA. The name of it, HIPAA. And it comes with a filter and the sponge, air filter. It comes with a fuel filter. 2 of the HIPAA brand spark plugs. Never heard of them. And one of their filters. And it looks different down inside. I'm not sure if that's a magnet in there or what, but it's completely different than the one that's on it. But everything else is the same. It fits. So we'll throw this stuff on here in a little bit. I've already replaced the deck belt. We had this. We already had it hanging on the wall, and we already had the blade, so we had went in and put that. I only know it's going to run, so wasn't much point putting the blade and stuff on it, but we'll make it run one way or the other. But we believe that it was leaking oil somewhere, probably out of the filter, because that's where most of the oil was, or it could possibly be out of the oil field. Let me get a light. Dig these little lights. These are just Work Light brand. You get them off Scamazon. You usually get 2 for 10 or 15 bucks. And I cleaned all this the best I could. And it could possibly, I know there was oil, a lot more oil over here than there was over there on the other side. So it was all down around the frame. But I'm going to let it drip dry and see if any more oil. I had a big puddle of oil on the floor. See if it drips any more oil. overnight. But that's probably all I'm going to do to it tonight, and we'll start back fresh in the morning. Another cool thing about these, you can hold the button down and it'll turn red. Hit it and it'll flash. I never knew these did this. My granddaughter figured it out. Strange. It's a cool light. Does all kinds of neat stuff. It's bright, I guess medium, and then the little point, then off, and then of course the red flash. They're neat. They're work light. I've got tons of these. Are rechargeable. You don't put batteries in them. They just charge with a phone charger. I keep them staged up over here. Keep them on charge. And they last a long time, believe it or not. They last a pretty good while. I've had some of these for 2 years. And I've also got another one of these charger things where you can plug all of them you want to in it and charge. I got one here. I like these a whole lot when I first got them because they're pretty bright. But the magnets breaks off of them really easy. They're really handy. The magnet's real stiff and you can twist it and turn it and it'll stay. They're kind of like the ones that they use on South Main Auto, but the ones he uses are Braun, I believe. And these are not Braun, these are just knockoffs. These are $10-12 on Amazon, but I've broke every one of them but this one. This one's been broke completely in two. And it's still working. But these are also magnetic. They don't stick great. They won't stick on nothing around for sure. But they don't stick great. They'll fall off on you. And that's the most annoying thing about them. But they are reversible. You can carry them like this. They're pretty handy for a cheap, handy little light. They're pretty handy. That's all I'm going to do tonight. We'll get back at this tomorrow when I get back from work and see what we can do. I'm going to be a day or two late because I've been kind of busy late on my videos. I try to put one out on Sundays, but I've been a little busy and I have not had time to do it. My son's busy. He's not had time to work on his mower. That's why we're trying to get it fixed. Get him lined back up. But that's all I got for you guys. We'll probably see you first thing in the morning. Okay, the rusty varmint is sort of cleaned up. It's dry anyway, it's been sitting overnight. You want to get the oil filter off and get the main oil drained out of it. Let's see what it looks like. Dark and nasty. Yeah. Take some of this Mower conventional motor oil. Just put a little bit around the filter. I think this goes all the way down till it tightens down, and then one quarter turn more. Or something like that. Uh-oh. That doesn't fit. Something ain't jiving. It goes right there and stops. There it goes. Just had a burr in it. We were supposed to clean those burrs out of the threads and didn't. I always do that. I always check. Don't run your finger down in it. Run a paper towel or something down in it and get the burrs out of it. This is the middle. I think I've done it almost a quarter turn. I'll still go one more. I'm going to have to take both hands here and try to turn it a little more. There was very little oil in this mower. Maybe bigger problems than what he thought. He said it was leaking, he thought, around the oil filter, and it seemed to be where all the oil was coming from, but hopefully it's leaked out after he parked it, not while he was running it. If that's the case, we may have a bad situation here. Okay, I think I found the oil leak. That's the drain, and it's supposed to twist over and out. This little black thing. But, look at this. I can thread the whole assembly out with my fingers. So it's been leaking, running around and running out the back. It looked like it was the oil filter, but it was this the whole time. This thing's probably not had no oil in it. I hope it's not blown up. He said it was hard to crank. We may have a way bigger issue than motor oil. Oh boy. Let me get this tightened up, that way I can release this oil drain. That's no good. That's metal. That pretty bronze color is metal. And there's hardly no oil in it, and it's thick. Very metallic. This may be the end of this beast. We might as well go ahead and look at the valves. It's hard for me to focus. Gasket's still on there. It sure stinks. Now I had a problem with this when I first got it. One of these studs kept backing out that held the rockers on. I thought that might have been the issue this time. And I had to run the stud back in and Loctite it. Because you adjust it over here, the stud can be all the way tight. I ran it down and Loctited it. Well, that was really tight. Let's turn the motor here a little bit. There's no battery in it, so we don't have to worry about it trying to start. We'll check the lash on these. That's really tight. It's clean though. I don't see no metal fragments all over it. See, they're just a little jag loose. We'll get the other side off and look at it. Like the gasket's all gone. We want to make a gasket. It's missing some pieces and it's been leaking around it. Studs don't seem to be loose on this one either. I'll just have to take the lash. It just feels loose. I can't remember what these were. They're something like, oh, I can't remember. I'll have to look it up. The studs are tight though. Now, this gasket is all dried up. I've got some material. I believe this is more like what came off of it. I've got this also, this rubberized rubber cellulose, and then this is just paper, I guess. This paper should do it. Gotta get this off here first. It's like it's been leaking here for a while. This feels like rubber. Well, pretty thin. We're gonna go with this. I traced it out. See if these dull scissors will work. I'm doing this outside edge first for a reason. it out. I've already got my holes laid out. I'm using this mat for my wife's sewing room. I'm sure she won't notice. I've already destroyed it. I'm going to take what's left of the old gasket and I'm going to do my inside lines. I can just flip it around. Just flip it around like this. Do the rest of it. It's lined up with the holes. Now, got all my corners laid out. And I just got to take a razor blade and cut that and then take a hole punch. I'll get the hole punch out. Here's the hole punch. I need to get you turned around. How'd I get you all the way over there? Here's the hole punch. That's not the right size. I need to find the right size. That looks like it. Maybe. We'll give it a whirl. Oops, no hammer. Might be too big. A little bit large. Fits that one though. I'm gonna go one size smaller. Seems like it's too little. Here we go. Now we're back where we was. I ended up getting this cut out. My camera quit. I got the center cut out just with a razor blade. Milwaukee. I forget what this is called. Fastback. These are really cool. A lot of people are carrying them. It's got a 1/4-inch drive on the end. It comes with a Phillips and a flat bit. Let me get this in the frame here. And of course you can use a 1/4-inch drive. And it locks. It's got a razor blade. It locks open. The cool thing is it locks closed. People that carry razor blades, I've had razor blades open and poke me in my pocket before. This right here doesn't. It locks open and it locks closed. It's also got a wire stripper on it. Here's a cool, just a little plastic knife you can carry in your pocket. It's got a clip. You can push it down in your pocket and that clip holds it inside your pocket. They work really good. But I got the holes punched out with this hole punch. This is just a generic Amazon ABN auto body now. There's 13 different dies in it, all the way up to 1 3/8 for making gaskets or punching leather, whatever you want to do with it. That goes there. It's a pretty handy little tool, especially for this kind of stuff. I carry it, keep a block of wood with it. Now we've got our gasket made. We can go back to adjusting the valves. First thing we're going to do to adjust these valves, we're going to have to get it on top dead center. In order to do that, we're going to go ahead and take the plugs out. This is a spark plug wrench from Gear Wrench. It has a little flexible ball on the end of it. It's got a little keeper in there that keeps your spark plug in. I think it's magnetic. Take these plugs right out. I got something stuck in the way. Surely that plug wasn't that loose. I don't think I'm on the plug. No, I'm not on it. What's up with that? Apparently, this isn't working. There's something down in there. And they're 13/16. So the regular spark plug wrench doesn't work. Still loose though. Terribly loose. So the plugs I got may not fit this motor. I got some new plugs, but they're standard size, 5/8. We're gonna go ahead and take these plugs out on both sides, and then we'll get it this one side to top dead center. And we're gonna crank this engine around, and notice the exhaust valve is open right now. The exhaust valve's closing. We're going to come back up on the next stroke, and the intake valve will open. And after the intake valve opens and closes, the piston should be on its way back up. That will be our compression stroke. Looks like we're already there. I'm just taking this screwdriver and gently putting it in the spark plug hole to see where the piston is. The piston has to come up after the intake valve closes. The intake's on the top, exhaust is on the bottom. Intake's up here where the carburetor comes in, exhaust is where the exhaust goes out the muffler. So your intake valve just closed, the piston's on its way back up, and that should be your compression stroke. And it's on its way back down now, so I'll move this back until I get it all the way to the top. That's top right there. Go back a little. That doesn't feel right. Shouldn't be that tight. So we may need to go to the next stroke. Yeah, there's the intake stroke. I even have it in the right place. I had it in the wrong place. Intake is closing. That's on its way back up. It's all the way at the top. Now your valves are loose. It has to be after the intake closes, so that's the compression stroke. I had it on the wrong stroke last time. Now, these are supposed to be set between 4 and 6 thousandths. And I'm just gonna set them on 5. If I can read my feeler gauges, that's 5 thousandths. That's really close, a little bit loose. That one's really loose. It should hold this just with a little bit of friction, and it's not. So you gotta adjust these. It's hard to see. If I can get this where we can see. These are your jam nuts. And it takes, I think it takes a T40 Torx in here. I gotta get somewhere where we can get some light. That'll work. Should be a T40. I've only got a T30, is the biggest Torx I've got. It's a little loose. Then you take a 13mm wrench and loosen your jam nut. Let's see if I can get the box end on it. And it's not going. Is that a 13? I can't see it. It is a 13. But it doesn't fit. At least one end doesn't fit. Gosh, those are jammed down there. Loosen your jam nut. Put your feeler gauge in until it just gets a little friction, but not enough to hold it. I believe that'll work. It's a little bit loose. I'll let it back off, I guess. I'll turn with the nut, see what that does. There we go. Yeah, we got just a little friction now. I wish I had something to put this light somewhere. Got just a little friction. Let's see if I can get it to hold. And I dropped it. Oh, that's really loose. I didn't get it tied enough. I'm gonna have to find a wrench that works. Ooh, went too far that down. Oh, that's too much. You just want it to barely hold. There it is. It's tight, but it's not too tight. It's barely drags. We want to do the same thing with the other one. It's pretty close. I haven't adjusted these in several years. I'm supposed to adjust them every year. Oh. A little too tight there. Oh, that wrench is I'm not cutting it. It must be a 1/2 inch that fits, but it's a little loose. See if I can turn the wrench and the screwdriver together. Gee. See if I can get a 1/2 inch in there. Just about will. And that don't fit. Huh. What's next? 19 feet. Well, all right. Got drag on that one. Drag on that one. It was a 13. Oh, I see what went going on there. It's a stinking 6-point. Yeah, it's an older Craftsman. It goes if you get it turned right. 1/2 inch sure wouldn't go. Let's do the other side. You can see this side just slightly better. But we've got to get the compression right on this side. So let's try that again. Turn the engine around till we see those exhaust. I think I'm turning the engine the wrong direction. There goes your intake. Now we want to start watching that piston come up. Oops. I must be turning this motor backwards. Be turning it the other way. There goes your intake. I was turning the motor backwards. That's why I got it wrong the last time. Now the piston should be traveling up. She's up. There. That's top right there. Now we got loose valves, just like we want. Okay. Make sure we're still on our 5 thousandths. That's really close. Really close. We're going to tighten it up just a fudge. If I can get this crazy 6-point on here. Man. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. A little more. Dragging just a little. Too much. A little tight, but about right. It's not falling down. Still gotta get it tighter. I mean, get my wrench tied in my bolt. Fits in there good. Fits in there good with just a slight amount of drag. Now we've got our valves adjusted. Now move on to the next thing. Now the valve covers are back on. Time to move on to the next step. Now we're going to put a little bit of motor gravy in it. And I think these take about 44 ounces. About a quart and a half. Probably have to start it running a minute. Can't tell what it's saying. Nothing on the stick. I probably didn't put about a half quart in it. I'm using 5W30. I think this calls for straight 30 or some kind of synthetic. I don't know what kind of synthetic you put in it. 0W20 or something. I wouldn't guess. I'll come back and get this topped off. Well, unfortunately, this is as far as I can go on it tonight. But I am going to put the battery in it and try to start it. See how it cranks, see if it's cranking like he said it, like it didn't have compression. I'm gonna give it a little crank, see if it fires up, and then I'm gonna disconnect the battery because we gotta do a parasitic draw test. I wanna make sure the solenoid's hooked up in the right direction. Go ahead and put the new plugs in it. Got the battery in. Now this new spark plug wrench does work with these plugs because they're 5/8. Oh, battery died right when I was getting ready to put the plugs in. But you know how to put plugs in. Listen, I can't even remember how to drive this thing. Wheel on slow, chokes on, nice clutch. Definitely got issues. So we don't think it's the valves. It's like there's water in this filter. So I may drain the tank. But that's as far as I'm gonna go on this video. We'll pick up, there's a lot of water coming out of the exhaust. We'll pick up on the next one. And I do appreciate you guys hanging out this long. If you stayed this long, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We always need subscribers. You can join us for our next little fun adventure. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys on the next episode on this mower. So it'll be a two-parter. You guys stay clean.